I'm Bob Savakinus. Welcome to our program in a nutshell. Today our guest is Maria Wilson. Maria is the executive director of the Waverly Community House. She resides in Dalton with her family, and she is also the founder of the Northeastern Pennsylvania Film Festival that was started in 2015. And I also found out in reading her biography that she's an attorney. Maria, welcome to our program today.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate you doing this segment on the film festival.
Okay. Northeastern Pennsylvania Film Festival sounds like this will be the 5th year of it, although maybe there was a year lost because of the COVID.
Yeah, it might actually. I looked it up before I got here, and it might actually be the 4th year.
Okay.
We lost a year or two in between.
Okay, so tell our audience about the details of what the film festival is all about, where it's located, the dates and things like that.
Well, I'll start with the dates because we really want people to come out and see it and support the local film community and the films. And it's April 17th and 18th. 2021. It will be held at the Ritz Theater on Wyoming Avenue, and we're really delighted to be there. They have a fantastic 45-foot screen, and the owners have renovated it in such a way that we can hold it in a way that's socially distant and still accommodate quite a few people. It will run Saturday from about 12 o'clock to maybe 8:30 at night, and then Sunday the same time frame, 12 to maybe 4:30. And daily passes will be available. There's a Saturday pass and a Sunday pass. Each are $15. We changed the pricing structure this year to make it pretty simple. You don't have to buy a block. You can come for $15. You can attend all of the films on each day. So I encourage everybody to go to the website, NEPAfilmfestival.com, to buy your ticket. That said, this is really the film festival that we envisioned for March of 2020. We had a fantastic gala planned Friday night. The mayor was going to be speaking about film in Scranton, which is still an exciting prospect. And we had several directors who were going to be speaking. So we suspended it. The festival was scheduled to be held on, I think, the 28th, 29th, about a few days beforehand. The lid just was put on everything. And that was that. So we suspended it. And after a lot of thought, examination of the circumstances, we decided to go ahead with it this year for April because we can hold it in compliance with the current health guidelines. And so the films that we picked last year are fantastic. I've had a chance to revisit them all in putting the program together. So what we're seeing now isn't too far afield from how the festival was first envisioned back in 2015. We're featuring shorts, documentaries, features, some international shorts, and we hope to have some question and answer sessions with some of the directors.
Okay, so it sounds like a fun weekend coming up.
Yeah, it is.
So the $15 pass will allow the audience just to come in and maybe see the one film that they want to, the short or something, and then maybe take a break or something, grab something to eat or whatever, come back, watch another one or something like that. What are just a little bit of an example of some of the films and shorts?
Well, on Saturday we're starting off at noon with a PG film. Those that are PG are rated PG. Anything that's not rated, because they don't come into us rated, I would assume you should assume that there's some mature content in anything that's not PG rated. But we're starting off at noon with a movie called Ape Canyon, which is a fun movie by a young California director, and that runs about an hour and a half. And then we have a series of shorts that are each one of them is riveting. So if you come for the shorts, you're going to stay for the whole block. One of them is The Boy Hero. It's locally produced. It's about a young boy who's a cancer patient who meets up with an older gentleman. And while it sounds like it would be a tough film, it kind of is. It's extremely inspirational. And the family, the young boy who is the subject of this, was scheduled to come to the festival last year, and we expect to see him again this year. And then there's one or two that are a little on the mature side, one of which stars Eric Roberts. It's called, and it's being directed by a director from Wilkes-Barre. There's a break, and then there's another PG film, Playing with Beethoven, which is another fun film produced by another young director about a musical competition. And then that night we have what's called the Mystery Box Film Challenge. And that is being coordinated by an extremely talented young filmmaker in town, Desiree Zielinski, and a friend of hers, Luz Cabrales. And that's a tradition of the film festival. It started with the first one. That was, and actually the concept of this was originated at the COM, which has a long history of commitment to the arts. And there was we had a young woman working for us then, Alex McNamara, who came up with the idea of the film festival. We wanted to do something that would, there would be some outreach of the COM in the arts, and so it was kind of a bold move to start a film festival again. It's been tried before in Scranton, and the first year was very successful. But part of that festival was the Mystery Box Film Challenge, and she worked with some local filmmakers who are still with the festival. Jeff Fowler. There's a couple others, but it's basically that there's teams of filmmakers, local filmmakers, who get together, 4 or 5 on a team, and they produce a short film, and it's in a competition. And there were 12 submissions this year, so that starts at 6 o'clock, and there's a lot of excitement around that.
A lot of creativity.
A lot of creativity. There's a real percolating pool of talent in Scranton and in Northeast PA. They've created Scranton Films and 1 or 2 other film societies, and they're thankfully part of this festival. But they will, and they're very supportive of the festival. But if you go on the website, nepafilmfestival.com, okay, you can see the rundown of the films for Saturday and the film and the mystery box. And there's going to be there'll be awards given out that night. It really is it's just a lot of fun.
Sounds like a fun evening.
It is, but Sunday it gets better. If that's even possible, as you look at the schedule. Well, we have international shorts. So if you arrive at 12 o'clock with your Sunday pass, there are some really interesting and intriguing shorts, international shorts. The Quiet, Coffin Décolleté, Irony. There's some mature content. One is about child brides in Egypt, and they're quite dramatic. And then there are 3 documentaries. Made in America, which is about it's about veterans and the impact of post-traumatic stress syndrome on veterans and in the urban Black community. That'll be followed by Mark Jury, the story of Mark Jury. He's a local gentleman, and it really chronicles his journey as a Vietnam journalist and vet, and his struggles with post-traumatic stress syndrome. That was, as I'm sure a lot of people will know, directed by John McCulloch, who's an Emmy Award-winning director. He will be there to answer questions, and Mr. Jury may be there. It's a short, but from what I understand, it's really powerful. And then we have Hanson Park documentary, which you're very familiar with.
I am familiar with that one.
So maybe you can tell people what that's about.
Well, of course, Hanson's Park, I was a producer of that documentary, and it was an amusement park in the Harveys Lake area in Luzerne County and everything, long history in the area. So I'm actually very proud to be a part of this festival, and myself and the producer of that as well, director, Tim Novotny will be with us as well. So we're looking forward to being a part of this festival. So, and we're hoping people come out to see those. And then we get to what's called the local block, although many of these are local, with 3 other films. One is by the director Alexander Manelli. He actually directed at the drive-in. It's about the Mahoning Drive-In Theater. It was a couple of years ago. It went on to win a lot of awards. And it did play at our film festival. Sing to Me by Luz Cabrales, who's another local filmmaker, and she's the founder of Scranton Films. And Charlie Chaplin's Body by Jared Tobin, and he laughingly says it has mature content. I haven't seen that one, so I hope it is laughingly mature content. But I hear it's. But I understand it's very good. I just want to make sure I got that absolutely correct. But The Backbreakers by Alexander Manelli is about a wrestling club in Archibald, Pennsylvania. And it's a short, and I was on social media, I've been on social media seeing the activity, and I see that the club sees that the film's going to be played at the festival, so we expect a nice turnout in support of his film. Sounds like a big lineup, a lot of activities.
It is. I just want to make sure I got the name correct. Charlie Chaplin's Body is actually by Jeff Bohm.
Okay.
Jared Tobin reviewed it, so they're
it's
both
Jeff
popular people in town. So yeah, it's a Jeff Bohm film.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it just sounds like, listening to what you're telling me, I mean, and this is something I know we've had a little bit of a discussion prior to this talking about. I mean, Northeastern Pennsylvania, Scranton area, I mean, we have a lot of people that are just so talented in the filmmaking industry, or making shorts, documentaries, things like that and everything. So, I mean, I would hope that somewhere down the road we can elevate us in Northeastern PA on that larger scale, so that the rest of the world, the rest of the country is aware of all the capabilities and things that a film industry can exist in Northeastern Pennsylvania.
It absolutely, and I'm a novice at this. I'm a film lover. I have no technical expertise. I just love going to the movies. We went to the movies as soon as we could during the pandemic. I've always gone to the movies. And our March 20th gala, the Friday night, was going to feature Chris Bonjourne, who's somewhat local, and he recently came out with a movie, The Assassin, starring Anthony Hopkins, and a part of that was filmed in Scranton, I think in front of the Ritz Theater. There was the explosion scene, and many films were filmed here, and it seems to have great proximity to so many things. There's a lot of natural resources here in Scranton, but also we're close to New York, we're close to Philadelphia, we're close to the mountains, we're close to upstate New York. And the community here, I think, would be very welcoming. There would be a lot of extras, Bob, who would come out. And I think it's something that Scranton would be open to if it's kind of off topic a little bit.
No, it's not. I mean, filmmaking is important. I mean, the film festival that you're promoting, I mean, wouldn't it be great to have more films produced locally and even distributed and making on a national level, or even a worldwide, global level?
Absolutely, because look how The Office took off. People
That's
love it.
Perfect example.
But there's a lot of community engagement, and we have sponsors. We have a lot of good sponsors of the festival, and a lot of them have come on board because they see it as beneficial to the community. And one of the com's taglines, one thing we've always do, is education through recreation.
Right.
So you can learn a lot. I mean, for example, the boy hero, about this young man with cancer and his relation to an older gentleman. You learn a lot. You don't by watching these films. So there is an educational benefit to it, in addition to a recreational one. And now, as we come out of this pandemic, I think people are, and this is why I encourage people to come out. To be able to go out and see some live, even though it's on a screen, some live art is fantastic. We had again, the COM has this long commitment to the arts, and there's an art scholarship, the Ethel Beelen Art Scholarship, the Beelen. And we recently had the finalists for that award presented their work at the COM this Sunday, and there were 3 finalists, and one of whom who won the award, Tyler Dempsey, he's a young musician, he had his band there, and it was just spine-tingling to sit there and listen to some live music after just seeing everything, not being deprived of it for a year. So there is something about that live experience of sitting in a like we are right now talking, sitting in a dark theater, watching film, and just being lost in whatever the film is. Whether it takes you back to Hanson Park, or over to Vietnam, or something really whimsical like Ape Canyon, which is really a fun movie, and I encourage people to come out with their kids for that one. You'll be told over the mic when it's time to leave with your children. Oh. There's nothing too crazy. It's just we sort of err on the side of caution.
But it'll be a fun time overall with all the activities going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch subjects a little bit. And you are the executive director for the last, I believe it was 16 years, and continue to be at the Waverly Common. I know Waverly Community House, you've mentioned that a few times in our conversation so far. So for our guests, our audience that are not that familiar with the Waverly Community House, can you tell us a little bit about it? Sure,
I'm happy to. Yes, I've worked there since 2005. I started there temporarily to fill in for the director who had to leave, and I didn't leave. As you said, I did
16 years plus
16 years later. And in some respects, I told you I practiced law. I was a federal prosecutor. This is harder in some respects than that. However, the COM has just celebrated its 100th year anniversary. it was started in 1919 by Margaret Abeelan to enrich the community, and that was a time when a lot was happening in Scranton. It was it was kind of the cusp of the industrial age, and the child labor laws were being put into effect, and there was an emphasis on community enrichment and recreation, and so the COM was built with the vision that it would be there for the entire community. And that business model, it's really quite remarkable. It's lasted through various cycles of economic and cultural changes, several wars, and it doesn't receive any federal funding. It's locally supported. Now it's endowed over the years, but it's managed to evolve in such a way that its programming, it's sustainable. It's a gorgeous building on 4 acres in Waverly. It looks like Independence Hall. It is Independence Hall. And it's a 501c3 charitable organization. And we do everything there, from there's basketball leagues to mahjong and bridge. There's summer camps, there's tennis, there's educational programs, there's arts programming. It's a big part of what the COM does. And it's also, up until the pandemic, open. The doors have always been open. This is the first time we've had to lock the doors, and it's been a challenge to run a business that's based on human interaction and gathering during this time. So we just had our bunny event. We do very serious things like event with the bunny,
right.
Which, but again, the families and the kids who benefit from it just love it, and we also try and make the programs affordable. So that there's really premium local entertainment. There's outdoor recreational facilities. We have a fantastic playground. There's tennis courts. There's playing fields. So there's a lot going on all the time. And again, I keep coming back to the pandemic because it's right there.
It's affected us.
It's affected everybody. It's right on the surface. You turn left, you turn right, and you have to deal with it.
I'm going to relay my own personal story, because I attended one of your events that was during the winter season, the holiday marketplace.
Right.
And I mean, in spite of the pandemic, I mean, it was done so well. There was I'm not sure how often you've done this event up there. But
not outside. This was the first year.
But the attendance looked very well. Looked like everyone was having a nice time, being able to shop, to purchase items, and to kind of enjoy the holiday atmosphere and everything.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a testament to how important the Waverly Community House is to our area.
It kind of this circumstance tested the mettle of what was of the COM. So you really tested your systems in a way. We have good volunteers. We had good relationships. The vendors who've done the artisans in the past took a chance on doing an outdoor event. This was the first time.
Right. Okay.
So the weather was with us, but the attendance was 30% more than it had ever been. We had great attendance. People loved it. So we have a great board of trustees, and what we tried to do is offer live events that are compliant. And while because you only have so many resources, and rather than put them into virtual events, we decided to go with live events. So it's risky, but it's paid off. I think people have appreciated it. We opened our summer camp registration yesterday. It's ComCamp. People are just they can't sign up fast enough. People want to be with other people. The one thing we did that was really worked, and somebody's going to document this sometime. We did run a virtual school at the COM because the schools were closed. Right. The kids were virtually learning, yet parents had to go to work. So we decided to dedicate the whole lower level to a virtual learning space. So the kids who were in an after-school program and others were able to sign up for that, and they showed up at 8 in the morning. We had tables set out socially distanced, and those kids came in, they had their earphones on, they would go on the computers, and we had to redo the whole internet because things were just crashing with all the kids on it. Right. And they went to school there, so the parents were grateful that they could go off to work and leave kids. And so they're back in school now, and the after-school program continues. So that's as much a part of what the COM does. But we also are really committed to the arts. We had 3 outdoor concerts and an art show. And so this film festival was just sitting there. Okay. It was just sitting on the shelf. And so what do? Do you try and have it? And so we are having it. We're not having the big party on Friday night, which is kind of a disappointment.
But some filmmakers will still get their awards.
They'll still
in spite of no party, but okay.
And nobody wants a party right now. So I think everybody kind of gets it. And next year, hopefully, we'll have the so-called party the night before. But
it's almost like, though, in the winter season, you had your big event at
Yeah.
Waverly Community House.
Yes.
Now you're having a spring event.
We're having a spring event.
So are there any upcoming summer events, or is that being in the planning process?
Well, it's in the planning, but we are having a 5K run. We're having 2 art shows, one in the spring and one in the fall, one featuring Peter Hoffer, and the other featuring Karen Reed. They're both wonderful artists, and we are planning summer outdoor concerts. Again, we're assuming that these conditions will continue for a while.
Right.
And, we're real scouts up at the com. We just follow everything. Don't quit. Honestly, if you treat it very superficially, this is the rule. Okay, we're going to follow the rule. Okay. And then you go on to the next thing. So, and then we're planning our summer camp. That requires a lot of planning because we have to keep the kids in certain groups. We keep them separated from others. We have to, implement certain safety measures. The kids need their temperatures taken, and they have to wash their hands. And I have to say, the kids last summer, they were fantastic. They spilled out of their cars, had their temperatures taken, went up, washed their hands. They were just so happy to be out. And they're good kids anyway. And so that's what we're planning for really now. We have other things, like we'll have a car show, and slowly things will start falling back into place.
So our audience should just look at the Waverly Community House website,
Yep.
give you guys a phone call.
Absolutely.
And just find
Absolutely.
out.
Anybody who wants to tour
Switch
out.
subjects again now.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
talk about Maria Wilson.
Oh, gosh.
So 16 years you're at the Waverly Community
Yeah.
Center. Tell me about some of your successes. What makes you so happy about, what makes you so proud of the community house or other projects that you have done?
Oh, wow. The comms really changed, actually, because the needs of the community changed in 15 years. But there's a couple things we did that I think are going to remain as good, nice, permanent assets programs of the comm. One of them is the after-school program, and we've taken over the preschool. So we really have invested a lot in early childhood education, which is open to anyone. And we have scholarship and campusship programs. So we don't do means testing for kids, but if there's a need, we'll fill it. So we get kids from all over coming to those programs. And so we did dedicate space. And as part of that space, we created the Children's Interactive Learning Center, which is a space for children with sensory issues, sensitivities, and challenges. And that was supported in part by Moses Taylor, the Willery Foundation, some local foundations. And because what I found at the Comet Camp and on the playground, there's a 100% chance 10% of the kids can't handle it all. And so we've all come to learn that there are kids who have these sensitivity issues. So we have a space there. So a parent can come to the playground, can come to the comm, and with their whole family, and there's a space. It's a space for everyone. And so I am proud of that. That's been kind of quiet.
Nice accomplishment, okay.
Well, that's nice. And then we started what I really, which is very timely as it turned out, a couple years ago, the Destination Freedom Project. Waverly was a home to abolitionists during the free slave movement, and there was a rich history there that really wasn't being told. And in fact, there's a perception somewhere. I moved here from New Jersey, so it was hard for me to understand that Waverly might have been a little elitist. And I looked around and I thought, wait a minute, this isn't the history of this town. And so, again, I have a young staff member, Gia Ravello, and another, E.J. Murphy, who works with us. And we looked into it, and we found that Waverly, it was part of the Underground Railroad.
Okay.
And so what we have is the walking tour of Waverly. And it's a well-documented, well-researched walking tour of the Underground Railroad in Waverly. And we actually have a room dedicated to that. And again, there's another young artist in town, Sam Kuchwara, who painted the actual walking tour on the ceiling of the room. So there's an art aspect to everything, yeah. And we have people coming from all over. It's to take this little walking tour. it can be from an hour to 2 hours, and it's broadened to also discuss the role of slaves, free slaves in the Civil War, some of whom are buried up in Waverly. So that, we started this a couple of years ago, and so it really shows the COM's commitment and the community's commitment to education. We had a family come in from Harlem. They Googled the Underground Railroad, and what came up? The Waverly Community House. And this grandmother came in a van with her grandkids, and they took the tour, and they went to one of the gravestones nearby, and it's actually quite touching. So I'm extremely proud of that, and it's also very timely.
Right.
Right now. But we've also added, so the whole archive, the historic, and we've worked with the Lackawanna Historical Society on enhancing our archive space. In fact, they've loaned us, it's kind of a permanent loan, but it belongs to them, the Scranton Lace records, which are housed in our archive space, and that chronicles the history of Waverly Community House and the local area. So we have a nice relationship with the Lackawanna Historical Society.
So you're a nice resource as far as for
nice
the arts, for
yeah.
historical aspect, just for the community itself,
Yeah.
just to be able to take advantage of the educational component or anything at all like that.
Yeah, and we do have resources for those who want to participate, who may not have the resource to pay for camp. We just don't advertise it that much. But anyone who has an interest can contact me at the COM. You can email me, call me. We're easy to find. Just type in Waverly Community House, you'll get the Facebook page, the website. But again, back to the film festival.
Let's return back to that film festival.
April 17th and 18th, Saturday and Sunday, NEPAfilmfestival.com. And I really think it's just a fantastic way to spend an afternoon. And also during the breaks, you can go get something to eat in one of the local, eateries.
So this was started approximately 4 years ago, or this will be the fifth. What inspired you to want to do a film festival?
Well,
Northeastern Pennsylvania.
I was looking at the arts program at the Commerce, in particular the Ethel Montbilan Arts Scholarship, which has really benefited, maybe 50 artists since 1964. And so it's a great resource. We wanted to expand the reach of that scholarship, that fund a little bit. What we thought was film festival seemed to embody all of the arts. It's the fine arts, cinema, music, screenwriting, and it seemed like it touched a lot of different communities and would have the broadest reach. And so Alex McNamara, who came up with the original idea, really developed it and got some, asked some local filmmakers to help her on the committee, and they really developed it. But it was really to try and build community through the arts. That's the tagline for it. And it does do that. We've developed some relationships with those in the film community that might not have developed but for that. And because we see the arts as a great equalizer and a great friend to everyone. And so we're all about everything being positive. And so it's building community through the arts. And that's really the basis of the film festival.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Maria Wilson, the Executive Director of the Waverly Community Center, and also the founder of the Northeastern Pennsylvania Film Festival, which will be coming up the weekend of April 17th and 18th. So thank you for being our guest today. Thank you for what the Waverly Community Center does for our area and this film festival. And I think we're going to have to talk maybe on a future show about filmmaking in Northeastern PA.
Yeah, that would be great.
How we can make things even more successful in our area to make some more bigger movies. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, we want to get our name out there.
Okay. Thank you, Maria Wilson.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
I'm Bob Savakinus. This is In a Nutshell.